Alrighty, so I wanted to answer the question, should you summon for this character? And I know that you've probably already seen some people post their should you summons and everything like that, but I wanted to actually get my hands on this unit first, and I think going forward I would like to try and test the character out and stuff like that before I make my mind up on whether or not I should say you should summon or not, because obviously it's a little bit weird that I'm just like watching JP content or something like that, and I'm like, they didn't really perform that well in the videos, or like whatever the case may be, but, I want to actually, use the character for myself and make my own mind up. So, the character's very interesting. This new Elaine is honestly pretty cool. I'll let you see the CC there. We have 64.6k CC. That's with HP defense HP defense gear on. And overall, we have her 1/6, but her passive is actually really, really interesting. It's so close to being like fantastic. And this is so good, and supporty that I think as soon as any new fairies come out, which who knows when that's going to be. Hopefully, the festival character that's right around the corner is going to be a fairy. This whoever the next fairy is that comes out, this unit is going to make them great. I really do genuinely believe that. If you don't know, at the start of the battle, increases fairy allies' crit defense by 60% for 2 turns, so they become really tanky. Then increases their damage dealt by 8% up to 32% for every buff applied to fairy allies. So, you do get some decent use out of this because of her putting on her own buffs and stuff like that. Obviously, it's not going to be maybe the easiest thing to max out from, there's not a whole lot of fairies that are actually good, so you might end up running someone different in the 3rd slot, and depending on who your backliner is, you might not be able to apply too many buffs or whatever. But overall, I'm not a huge fan of, just straight damage dealt increases. They're actually not as good as attack related stat increases or something like that. I think that would have been maybe better, but the second half of the passive down here does increase attack related stats. So at the start of the allies turn, decreases all enemies defense related stats by 20% for 1 turn, which is really, really nice because that's going to be a debuff that's already out on the field. So the weak point skills that you're going to be using and stuff like that, because she does have a weak point skill. It's not great, by the way, but some of the allies that you might be using will have a weak point skill potentially. They hit pretty hard. Lowering defense related stats is obviously very, very good, and it reapplies every single turn, so that's great. Then increases allies' attack-related stats by 5% up to 20% for every debuff applied to the enemy. So she's going to already give you 15% attack-related stats as long as they don't have debuff immunity or something like that on the field, because she's going to be applying the defense-related stat lower to all 3 enemies. So that's going to be 15%. Depending on who you're running, you could run like a green Sario Link or just a character that debuffs in general, and then you're going to be able to max that out pretty easily. So the attack-related stats are very, very helpful, and on top of that, you can get a blue attack-related stat buff from her buff card, which is really, really nice. Have to say, she's a straight-up support. Damage dealt with this character is abysmal. I do only have a 1/6 ultimate. It was not very impressive, of course, because, release is not the greatest in this meta right now, because there's not a whole lot of, dot effects that you actually put on characters. And then this weak point skill was pretty lackluster. It's also a single target, which I kind of hate. I really wish it was an AoE, just because fairies are pretty AoE related, I think. But I guess it just kind of is what it is. We used the character with a couple of different teams. Some of those videos aren't out yet. They will be going out later on, throughout the week and everything. But I wanted to make sure that I tested out a couple of the different teams and actually got a good feel for the character before I made this video. So, like I said, I think that she's really close to being a really good character, or to making someone else a really good character. I do think that she's actually pretty good. Even with the power creep level that the meta is in right now, I do think that this character is actually pretty good. Obviously, the kicker is her passive is fairies, or some of it is fairies only, which there's not a lot of fairies in the game, so it's very hit or miss on whether or not that's actually going to be useful in the future, depending on how many fairy units we get. I'm really hoping that they, some people pointed out in the live stream that we did last night that hopefully they'll do some Ragnarok fairies as well or something like that, because there's not that many fairies in the actual 7 Deadly Sins story, but we'll see how it goes. The banner, on the other hand, is not great. They never are, honestly. It's very few and far between we actually get a really good banner. Obviously, the Elaine is rated up to 0.5%, which is great if you're looking to get the Elaine. We were able to pull her at 330 gems, which isn't too bad. That's right after the halfway point. And we got a couple of like pretty mediocre SSRs and stuff like that. I unfortunately wasn't able to pull any of these Elizabeths. If you're looking at the new LR Elizabeth and you don't have her yet, this might be an okay time to get her. I have watched Beats' videos lately, and he has made a really good point of she is a New Year's character, so if you just wait and want to get more value, saving for the New Year's banner, which is normally a really big festival unit that drops during that banner, this character will more than likely be on the banner as well. This is it's kind of a weird thing that they made the new LR like a seasonal unit, so just kind of an odd one that you might feel forced to kind of summon for. I wouldn't worry about it too much right now, because depending on your LR seals and stuff like that, unless you're just like already like 100% ready to make an LR and you've been waiting for this character specifically and you're not interested in the other two, or you already have one or you already have both, I don't know, maybe you could go for it, but I would say probably holding off would be the better choice. The rest of the banner units, not great. I'm happy that Denzel's in here actually, because he's not on a whole lot of banners, but he's like the only cool character, and he's not even a good character. He's just, I think he's cool. That's literally it. So banner's pretty bad. Not very happy with the banner, but it kind of is what it is. We're literally just getting out of like a festival and a collab, so you probably don't have a whole lot of disposable gems and stuff like that in the first place, so probably not a great time to summon. Potentially, from my understanding, everybody's sort of like got their expectations set that there's going to be a festival as the next banner. I haven't checked the schedule or whatever. Like they tend to hold like a loose schedule and try to do roughly festivals and stuff like that around the same times each year. So if that is true, and we had a festival last year around this time slot, then it's very likely that we're going to have a festival next. Depending on how good that festival character is, if it is a fairy character, you could always just wait, because us on Global we have the luxury of getting updates 5 days later than the JP updates do. So this banner will still be active for a couple of days after the next banner gets shown, and we'll even be able to see the JP players sort of like test the characters out and everything like that. We should end up having a live stream at some point if they end up doing a festival next, and we'll be able to completely see what the next character does and everything. So if it ends up being a fairy, you could always just come back and summon for this character and then go into the festival. Obviously that kind of sucks, because we just came out of a lot of like high gem usage sort of banners and stuff like that, so having to summon for this character and a festival, probably going to be a tough call, probably a hard sell there, but I guess it just depends on how much you want to be up to date on the meta. Obviously, demons are doing just fine. I think, the Demon King being as power crept as he is pretty insane, so you don't really have to worry about it. If you've already invested into the Demon team, you should be okay, but this is a pretty low investment unit, because we already have 2 other Golden Wing Elaines. If you have either of these, you'll already have some costumes and stuff like that sort of like ready to go for this one if you want to grab her. Obviously, I used the blue one quite a bit. I thought that she was really, really fun, so I had already invested into some of the cosmetics and stuff like that, and I don't have all of them maxed out. I'm missing a weapon and a cosmetic piece that aren't maxed out, but I didn't have to invest a whole lot, which was really nice, and you get the extra cosmetics from the Event Tower of Trials, so that's also just free cosmetics that you get, which you can use on the other Elaines if you already have those as well, so you might as well grab those if you have them. But the best reason to summon is for this little chicken. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I have to say. Anyways, that literally is all I have to say. I honestly think that you should definitely wait. This character is close to being really, really good, but with the characters that we have in the meta right now and in the game that have been power crept, unfortunately, the teams aren't the best. Like, you can definitely have fun with this unit. I have already had some pretty decent fun with some of the teams, but like, you're not going to be winning every single game. You're not going to be going in, strutting your stuff, absolutely blowing teams out of the water or anything like that, because there are some teams that still out CC this character and like just, go first and dominate the meta and stuff like that. So depending on what you go against, of course, it could be different depending on your PvP rank and everything, but that's pretty much all I have to talk about. So that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any thoughts or opinions on this Elaine, or if you have any reasons that you would say you wanted to summon, or like more cons on why you should skip, or whatever the case may be. Feel free to leave them down in the comments below. But that is it from me. So subscribe. I would appreciate it. It would mean a lot to me, and you can stick around and hang out and enjoy the content and stuff like that. I do upload pretty much every single day. So yeah, I will see you guys later on. Enjoy.